Town Mouse and the Country Mouse. There once lived a town mouse and a country mouse. One day, the country mouse invited the city mouse to his place. When the country mouse served a meal to the city mouse was disappointed. Is this it? It is nothing more than a few kernels of corn and grain. If you come to my place in the city, I will give you a great feast, said the city mouse. City mouse and country mouse visited the city. When the city mouse served him his meal, the country mouse could not believe his eyes. There was bread, cheese, fruit, and grains. But when the two mice sat down to eat, a cat jumped onto the table. Two mice hid from a cat in a hole until it left. When they were about to eat again, a cook came in. The cook saw them and screamed, "Ew! Catch the mice!" So the two mice rushed inside the hole again. It happened repeatedly. The country mouse said, "I am going back home where I can enjoy a peaceful dinner." Moral of the story: riches is not happiness always.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for subscribing.
The Dove and the Ant. An ant was walking back to her home after a day's work. She walked along the bank of the stream. But suddenly, she slipped and fell into the stream. The ant was petrified and tried to look for something to hold on to. She then realized that she was sailing with the stream, away from her home. The ant panicked and started crying out loud, "Help! Help! Please help me!" The dove was watching all this from a nearby tree. Thinking smartly, the dove plucked some leaves from the tree and dropped it into the water near the struggling ant. The ant climbed safely over the leaf and reached the shore safely. The ant was grateful to the dove and thanked him. The dove replied, "It is my duty to help someone in need. I am glad I could be of help to you." Then the dove flew into the open sky. A few days later, the ant was walking through the forest. She noticed a hunter with a gun. He was aiming his gun at a pretty bird sitting on a tree. The ant immediately recognized the dove and ran towards the hunter. As the hunter was about to pull the trigger of his gun, the ant climbed up his shoes and bit him on the leg. The hunter shouted in pain and missed his aim. The dove flew away from the tree. The dove was saved just in time. The ant walked away happily as she able to help the dove in return. Moral of the story: one good turn deserves another. Every good deed we do for others will surely come back to us. The Lazy Donkey. A salt merchant lived in a small village. Every day, he walked to the city to buy salt. His donkey accompanied him. The merchant loaded the bags of salt on the donkey, and they walked back to the village along the river. But the donkey did not like to carry so many bags on his back as he was lazy. The donkey always looked for ways to get rid of work. One day, the salt merchant loaded the donkey with 2 bags of salt, and they started walking back to the village. On the way, the donkey accidentally slipped into the river. The salt dissolved in the water, and when the donkey was pulled out of the river, he felt lighter. The salt merchant had to go back to the city to buy more salt. The donkey thought of this as a good idea to get rid of the load. The next day, the donkey intentionally slips into the river. When he was pulled out, he felt lighter. The salt merchant understood the donkey trick. He knew that donkey was falling in the river on purpose. So, one day the salt merchant filled the bag with cotton instead of salt. The donkey felt that the bags were much lighter than previous days, but the donkey wished to reduce the weight even more. So the donkey again fell into the river. But when he was pulled out, the load on his back felt much heavier. As the bag contained cotton, when it fell into the water along with the donkey, the cotton absorbed the water and the bag became heavier. The donkey had to pick up the heavier load. It realized his mistake and understood that the same measures will not suit all circumstances. He had learned his lesson. Moral of the story: you can fool a person a few times but not always. Those who are too clever sometimes overreach themselves and get trapped at their own risk. Thanks for watching. The Monkey and the Cap Seller. Once there was a cap seller who sold beautiful caps. One hot day the cap seller was going to sell his caps in a village market. He has to cross the forest to reach the village. He was carrying a basket full of red caps on his head and going through a forest. As it was a hot day, he got tired in the heat of the sun and thought of taking rest for a while. So, he kept his basket on the ground and slept under the tree for some time. There were many monkeys on that tree. The monkeys came down one by one, took all the caps from the cap seller's basket, and then climbed on the tree. Suddenly when the cap seller woke up, he was shocked to see his basket empty. He searched for his caps everywhere. But, to his surprise, he saw the monkeys on the tree were wearing them. The cap seller got very angry and sad. He had no idea how to get his caps back. When the cap seller made an angry face, to his surprise the monkeys also made the angry face. He laughed at them, the monkeys also laughed. He realized that the monkey was imitating him. So, he thought an idea. The cap seller took the cap and threw it on the ground. Seeing him, the monkeys did the same with their caps. The cap seller collected all the caps thrown by the monkey and put them back into his basket. He went on his way back to the village happily. Moral of the story: wisdom helps during difficult times. For every problem, there will be a solution.